Hi guys, welcome back to our Battle Royale tutorial series. In the last episode we imported our new base character, so our base mesh, and we set the retargeting properties of the skeleton. And what this will do is this will allow us to send animation over to another piece of mesh, another character, sorry. So before we go any further, we don't yet have our textures in, and we also don't have any clothes on the character. So I think we will start off by making this happen. So if we just close off our base mesh, okay, and I'm going to bring up the filters again, and the base mesh, I'm just going to grab the material and rename it m underscore male 001 body. Yeah, that'll work. Okay, and inside our male 001 folder, we will right click and add a new folder, and we'll call this materials. And then another one, right click, and we'll call this textures. Okay, so now inside our base mesh we have this material that we just renamed. We drag that into our materials folder and just say move here. Okay, and then head over to our bottoms and do the same. So rename it m underscore male 001 underscore bottoms 001, because we will have more than one male 001 bottoms when we start adding in more clothing. So let's just drag that into our materials and move it there. And again with the hair, so it's m underscore male 001 underscore hair 001, and drag that into our materials and move here. Do the same for our shoes. As you can see, the shoes, I've accidentally brought in a skeletal mesh with it, so it's not been imported properly. So what I'll do is I'll delete that just now, and I'll re-import my skeletal mesh. So the fuse characters, male shoes, and my male shoes FBX file. Now what I didn't do properly was I didn't select our male base mesh, and I can see I've done the same for the top as well, so I'll need to fix that. So select the male base mesh and import all. Okay, close this down and rename this m underscore male 001 underscore shoes 001. Okay, so now you can see it's imported properly because we no longer have a skeletal mesh with it. So let's just drag this to our materials and move it here. Okay, and finally we go to our tops. So this has all been imported wrong. You can see we have a skeletal mesh. We want to use the one from the base character, so let's delete this and re-import the top. Okay, and let's just say the base mesh skeleton and import all. The reason why we're getting this error, in case you didn't know, the characters are set to a specific bind pose, and the bind pose of the Mixamo rig isn't the same as the Unreal rig, so it flashes up just a warning error. It's fine, you just close it off. So let's change this m underscore male 001 underscore top 001. Okay, and let's just drag that into our materials and move here. So I'm just going to open all of these up. They have opened on my other screen, so I'll need to drag them over. So let's just drag these and drag them all in. to the top so we can start editing them. Okay, now we need our textures. So when you exported your Fuse character, you would have got a large list of textures. I'll just drag all of mine in here. Just let them load in. As you can see, it's going through the top, the specular, the shoes, everything else. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is set my channels up. So if I open up the normal maps, they actually look okay. I think we'll keep the normal maps. The normal maps seem okay. Let's take our, I don't have a PBR export, so I'll just use these maps just now. I'll take the gloss and I'll just take all the gloss out because I won't be using those. And gloss. Okay. This is just for previewing purposes anyway, so I can always come back with more PBR materials. So normal's fine, specular's fine, diffuse. Okay, so we now want to start setting up our materials. So I'll start off with the body. Okay, and I'll delete this. I'll bring in a texture sample. And the texture sample I'll just drag into the base color. And then I will create another one. And again, drag this one into specular and create another one. And drag it into normal. Okay, now I want a constant for my roughness, just to make sure we have something there. And I'll set the roughness to, this is the body, so we'll say 0.6. Okay, and then change the texture samples to body diffuse, the body specular, and the body normal. Okay, now when you first do this, you will see an issue. If you export straight from Fuse and you have your materials already set up, you will see a map going directly into your opacity map. That will have to be changed to opacity mask, and you do that by changing the opaque to masked, and you now have opacity masked. Now what that opacity mask does is it takes away the blockiness of your eyelashes. So without doing anything just now, obviously I have exported this out myself, so all my opacity alpha detail will be in my base color. But for anyone taking it straight from Fuse, you will already have an opacity map sitting there waiting. Just drag that into the opacity mask. Now if you don't do that, I'll show you what happens. So if I go to my base mesh just now, and I open this up, so you can see we have our diffuse in, but if I zoom into the head, and I look up, and zoom in, you can see the eyelashes are blocked out. They don't actually have the opacity mask on them. So if I jump back to my male body, I can drag from the alpha of the base color into the opacity mask, and this will give me my opacity for my eyelashes. So I'll just save that. Okay, and now you can see the eyelashes have the opacity mask on them. Okay, now as I said before, you may want to put underwear on your character, or you may want to just let them run about naked. It's entirely up to yourself. So next I'm going to move on to the top. So again, instead of dragging this across, I'm just going to go to the male body, and I'm just going to copy this and paste it over here. Now on the top, obviously we don't need the opacity mask because we don't have eyelashes, so we can just drag this straight into base colour, this one straight into our specular, straight into our roughness, and straight into our normal. Now we can customise these later on as well, obviously adjusting, adding parameters so that we can adjust our normal maps and various other things, but for now, just for previewing purposes, I'm just going to make some simple maps. So let's compile and save this. I actually haven't set up the textures for it yet, so yeah, let's do this. So I'm just going to type in top, diffuse, top, we'll go specular, and top, normal. Okay, and save this out. Okay, and we'll move on to the shoes, do the exact same thing. So bring this in, base colour, roughness, specular, and normal. One thing I forgot to do was, if we pop back to the top, I'm going to adjust the roughness because we don't want it to be shiny as that. We'll just set this to 0.9 for the top and apply that. Okay, head back to the shoes. This all looks okay, but again I want to adjust this. I'll put this to 0.7 because they're kind of leather canvasy shoes. And we will change this to shoes. Oh. So shoes, oh my god, twice. Shoes. And I don't seem to have my shoes diffuse loaded in. Did I accidentally delete that? Let's have a look. Shoes, normal. Yeah, I don't have a shoes diffuse. Shoes diffuse, I must have deleted it. So I'll just drag that back in. There we go. So shoes, diffuse, and I cannot spell shoes. Specular, so shoes, specular, and shoes, normal. Okay, so just apply that and head over to the hair. Remove this, paste these in. Again, base colour, specular, normal, roughness. And the hair, we can have it shiny but not too much, so I'll just set it to 0.8. We'll change this to hair, diffuse, hair, specular, and hair, normal. Okay, so let's apply that. We'll go to our bottoms, do the same thing. So remove this, and let's copy this, paste this in. Base colour, specular, normal, and roughness. So the roughness I want to set to the same as my top. So we want something, but just not a lot. So yeah, let's save that out. Again, I forgot to set the map, so I better go in and set those. Okay, so bottoms, diffuse, bottoms specular, and bottoms normal. Okay. So now that the character's textures are set up, we need to add the mesh to the actual base character itself. So let's close these down. Okay. And if we pop back to our base mesh character, so inside blueprints, we want to go to characters and the base character. If we open that up, go to viewport, you see we set the character up before. So now we want to add the clothing. I'll just drag this over. So if we click on our mesh and click add component at the top and just type in mesh, you can see skeletal mesh. So our first skeletal mesh will be our top. And then click on mesh again, we'll add another one. So mesh, skeletal mesh, this one will be our bottoms. Again, another one. Mesh, skeletal mesh, this one will be our shoes. And then finally, mesh, skeletal mesh, we want our hair. Okay, so now if we go to top, we can select the mesh and just add the top. You can select the bottoms and add the bottoms. You select the shoes, add the shoes. You select the hair and add the hair. So now when we animate this character, all of our skeletal mesh will conform to the body the same way as it would inside Mixamo or any other animating software. So we'll compile and save this and just test it out. My lighting's a little bit off in this level just now, but yeah, you can see we have our character in there. We don't yet have animation in it yet, but our character's there. So now we want to start setting up first person. Now you can obviously have this third person if you like, but most battle royales are in first person. A lot of people don't actually like first person battle royales, but you could have third person. You could also have both, where you could hit maybe enter and have the camera move to that position. But the problem with that is we will be socketing this to a parent on the character itself, and that could be kind of tricky. So the best bet to have both characters would be to have two cameras and just have it switch between the cameras when you are in third person or first person. But for this example, we are going to set it to first person. So we want to work with the follow camera. So let's take our follow camera and parent it to the mesh. Okay. And now move the follow camera into position, just up near the head. Okay. Now, if we had to play just now, we would be clipping through our mesh, and that's not what we want. Especially when we start animating, we don't want the arms clipping through and things. So let's parent this to the head socket so that the camera moves with the head. So if we click the follow camera and hit the magnifying glass and just parent it to our head. Okay, you see the orientation gets a little bit messed up and it moves away. So let's just grab our camera and rotate it 90 in the Y. So it's back to 0. And then push this. Sorry about that. And then push this back to the character's head. So let's just zoom in. Pull this up a little bit. And out. So it looks as if he's actually looking through the camera. Now compile and save. If we press play right now, we are in first person mode, but we can only move. We can't actually do anything with the mouse. Okay, if we want to move to the sides, we have to click A and D. And that's not what we want. We want to be able to pivot using our camera, using our mouse. So to set this, we need to click on our camera, scroll down, and when we get to camera settings, change our use pawn control rotation. So we want to use pawn control rotation, and that rotation we will get from the pawn, and our pawn is our base character. So if we get our base character, we can then use the rotation of our base character, which will be our yaw. So just again, if you click our follow camera, come down to our camera settings, use pawn control rotation, select that, and then head back up to the top layer, which will be our base character self, and come down to use controller rotation yaw. Okay, now when we compile and save, our character is in the world. We can look down, see our legs, we can look around, and we can move quite freely. We can also jump. Okay. So now that we have first person set up, I think we will end the video here. And in the next episode, we will see about bringing in some animation, just some basic animation, no gun running or anything like that just yet. Some basic animation to get our character moving realistically around the world, because right now he's still stuck in the T-pose. And after that, we shall start adding in our clothes and maybe setting it up inside our main menu. So having our character customization menu available to the player, and anything any clothes or anything they set inside the main menu, make it so that it gets transferred straight into the lobby map with the player. Okay, so that brings us to the end of this video, and I will see you in the next one. Thanks again for joining us.